Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And yeah, today we will be discussing 3 animated pictures that we chose to watch. But before we
semi-animated.
Oh yeah, yeah, 2 of them are questionable, you know.
Yeah.
One of them is undoubtedly entirely animated though. So
Yeah.
My bad.
But yeah, before we talk about them, did either of you watch anything interesting that you want to share your thoughts on?
I watched that new Angelina Jolie movie.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't that great. It was like it's a half hour too long, bunch of backstory that didn't need to be in there.
I don't even remember the title of it.
Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Oh, okay, that's right.
An HBO Max thing.
Yeah, I was trying to watch all the same day premieres on there, and that was not. They haven't been the greatest, actually. None of them, really.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not super into the direction HBO's been going in lately. I don't know. They just kind of seem to not really be doing really much interesting stuff, in my opinion. Yeah. But go on.
It's like Godzilla versus Kong is probably the best one, and even that wasn't that great.
Oh, I didn't even know that went to same day.
Yep.
I still haven't watched that one, and I haven't watched Mortal Kombat yet either.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah. I like that one for fun.
Yeah.
Nothing special, but yeah.
Definitely better than the 90s ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really take that much, really.
Yeah, true.
I mean, although, I mean, I think a part of me will always sort of be a little bit nostalgic, only because, like, I watched them so many times, you know, because I was such a dork for those movies, you know, and they really aren't any good. You know, watching them now, they really, like, they both, I mean, everybody shits all over Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but, like, the first one really isn't even, like, that much better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there were some cool fight scenes in both of them, but that's about it, really. But when I was younger, I was super into Mortal Kombat. I loved the theme song, the games, all that. And I watched those movies with my cousins, and I was just like, oh yeah, Mortal Kombat, it's like the coolest. Oh, I want to play Mortal Kombat 4, I want to play Mortal Kombat Trilogy, all that garbage. And, you know, then once it kind of turned 3D or whatever on the next gen PlayStation 2 or something, I sort of lost interest, because I don't know, I kind of preferred when it was like photograph people playing the fighting characters. I like that more.
Yeah.
And yeah, now they get weird with it. All these DLCs and shit.
Yeah, that's how gaming is these days.
Yeah, it seems like it. Did you watch anything else, or?
Not that I can think of worth talking about.
Yeah.
I saw, I mean, it's been a while now, like maybe a month ago, I saw the Tenant finally.
Oh, the Tenet. Okay, so which one is that one? That's because I might.
What's his face? Nolan. Yeah, Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Oh, okay, Tenet. Okay.
Tenet. Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, Tenet. What? All right, finally. I was like trying to think of what it was, but yeah, Tenet. All right. Did you like it? Or? It
was okay. I don't know what a Tenet is still.
Yeah.
Like me and my buddy were watching it, and we were just like, "What's a Tenet?" Like we didn't get it. It was, and like they used both, because I mean I facetiously was saying that because it's like also like I don't know that group of people that was time traveling, but they also used it as just that like the English word term tenet of like what's it, whatever, like something you go by, or whatever the actual dictionary definition is of tenet. They use both words for that. It was just confusing.
Yeah. Maybe it was trying to be kind of like how, like, you know how the word tenet is sort of like the same word spelled backwards and forwards. So maybe it had something to do with like circular something. Like,
Did you guys see it, or?
I haven't.
I haven't yet.
Okay. It's Nolan-y for sure. It's confusing as fuck, and like what he got, I don't know. I felt like he felt a little full of himself with that one too, because like, you know, the main character and stuff, this time travel shit just starts happening, and the group starts explaining it to the main character, and he doesn't really question it. He just like, okay, yeah. And it's like, you know, Christopher Nolan high concept dialogue type shit, and like like a scientific room with researchers and shit telling you, you know, it's, we have this bullet here and then this bullet here, it's going backwards in time. So instead of like the first example they gave is like him picking it up off the, like making it float like telekinetically. It's like, no, don't think about picking it up. You have to think about dropping it in reverse. And that's how like it worked throughout the whole movie. And then it just got so confusing with like, I don't know how spoilery you want to get into it, but it's like, I don't know who the bad guys were in the end, except for one dude, one obvious bad guy, because they just started fighting themselves and shit from the future and going backwards and forwards in time, and it was just so confusing.
Yeah. I mean, somebody was telling me that it reminded me of like it reminded them of like a James Bond movie, but like with time travel or something, which I mean, that idea sounds interesting, but then like when a few people I know have watched it, and it's and the way they describe it, it sounds like it's there's kind of more to it in certain ways, like as far as like what actually happens. Like it seems like it's not, I mean like the plot involves time travel, but it seems like it's less about like changing time and more about like what altering time can, like what the kind of like repercussions that can come from that, rather than traveling, but like what happens like when you come back to the present or something like that. I don't know, maybe I'm off base. I haven't watched
I wouldn't say it's like that at all. Yeah, because it's like it's a movie. It's because it is like, you know, the word 10. It's because they're like converging. Like how the whole thing works is it just converges and back, like, and then I'm assuming like around the middle part, everything you saw in the first half starts, you know, you start seeing it backwards technically, and it's like it gets real confusing.
Yeah.
And I do see like the James Bondy kind of thing, because it was like, you know, this, you know, big bad science type destruction of the world, but it's the future. The main point of the bad guys was them in the future waging war against us in the past, because of how we fucked up the past with, you know, fucking greenhouse gases or global warming and shit, basically, and all how we just screwed up everything. So they want to kill us.
Nice. Excellent. I mean, I guess I'll have to see it to really judge for myself, but
it does have some really sweet action, of course, like really cool not time travel-y, because it's different than time travel per se.
Yeah.
And like when you're in, because he goes through it too, when you go through it backwards, you're technically like kind of running backwards. It's like they explain like, yeah, you're gonna have to get your feet on you. You're gonna be feeling, instead of when you're going forward, you're gonna be feeling the wind on your back and stuff like that. And it's a lot to, you know, wrap your head around.
Yeah.
all on most Nolan films.
Yeah. I like when I mean, it's interesting because I mean, I tend to prefer when Nolan tones down his ambitions and kind of keeps things a little bit simpler. Like, I mean, he kind of became really popular once he started making the Batman movies, because like folks who weren't really paying attention to him before that, suddenly they saw, oh, this guy can, direct really well. And then they went back and watched like Memento and, whatever else, The Prestige and stuff, and saw that he could actually direct really well too, and all this stuff.
I love The Prestige, but
yeah,
I don't like how they went science fiction-y with it, or he went science fiction with it,
Yeah, I've never really quite known how to feel about that ending. Like,
yeah. I love the Bale stuff, but the Jackman stuff was interesting until the end.
Yeah, I would agree. I think at the end it started to kind of go a little bit too far, with the whole mysticism and the whole concept. And then like you said, when they took the whole like otherworldly kind of twist, which I mean in a way I saw coming, but at the same time it's like it's kind of
I did kind of see it coming when he visited Tesla, but I was like, oh no, please don't pull off some science fiction shit. I like how they were doing it more grounded, but
that's what clued me into.
Yeah, still a good movie overall, of course. But.
Yeah. But as for Nolan, sure, Inception, Interstellar, stuff like that it's cool. It's really interesting to watch and think about, but like I don't know. For me, I try not to think about those movies too much, because like when I do, they start to kind of get a little silly. I actually prefer I liked Following, which was an early movie of his, and then I actually like that remake of Insomnia. I like Memento, and I really liked Dunkirk a lot too. Like that's probably one of my favorite films of his. I like those films of his, more than like Inception and even the Batman movies. Like I'm not super crazy about them. I like them, but
I only liked The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, Dark Knight's really good. I think most people agree that was the best one.
I loved Interstellar though. A lot of people hate it, but I loved it. I cried like a baby during that 1 hour, like that scene. The time jump where it's watched. I bawled my eyes out in the theater. I was like, oh shit, this is intense.
Yeah, no, I loved Interstellar as well. It's just that's more the type of movie that I would rather just kind of I'd rather just remember it the way it was. I don't really want to think about it too much, because if I do, I'm going to start finding problems with it.
Plot holes galore.
Yeah, I enjoyed the experience of it so much that I don't want to think about it anymore. It's like I'm done. I was in that world for the 2 hours or however many.
Right.
And I don't want to but when the movie came out, everybody was like drawing these graphs, trying to explain the movie and all this. It's like it's not that complicated. Like you just really have to kind of just be paying attention. That's pretty much it. Like if you're paying attention, if you're paying really close attention to the first 20 minutes of Interstellar, the movie's really not that hard to figure out, in my opinion.
No. Like speaking of emotional shit though, did you guys see Bo Burnham's new special on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Not yet. I'm definitely going to though.
It's so good. It's an amazing piece of artwork. Like because he does film, like, it's him alone filming the thing during quarantine, and just how he's a genius. That guy is just a goddamn genius of how he just filmed just simple stuff, because he shows the background of it too, of some of the things, and he shows him getting frustrated a few little times of like him screwing up, but it's just incredible, like pure art.
Yeah, I remember him like as far back as like his YouTube days.
Yep, I loved I was following him since then too.
Yeah, and he's been consistently really enjoyable to follow. And that movie 8th Grade that he made was brilliant.
Yeah,
and I definitely am gonna watch that. I know it's I know it's on Netflix. I'm not quite ready to watch it, but I'm almost there. I'm getting there. But I know it's gonna be like, it's gonna probably take a lot out of me, because I know how he is. He's very, like, his energy is just very draining. Which is good. I mean, because I like his style and I like the way he presents himself, but his style is really genuine though. That's the thing.
Oh yeah,
and it's hard to kind of it's hard. Sometimes it's a little hard to stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely emotional. Like movies, I love the movies that make me feel stuff, and that one definitely does because he captured quarantine and everything in a beautiful way.
Yeah, that's good. Well, let's
How
see.
about you?
Okay, so I mean, you guys know how I love watching weird stuff. And I'm always trying to find stuff that's like out there, messed up and challenging and bizarre. And there was this one that people kept on bringing up on a few like groups, Fried Berry, which is an Australian movie. And so I watched that one, and I don't know. It didn't really blow me away, to be honest. Like everybody was saying that it was this crazy, weird, sick, bizarre movie, but I didn't really see what the big deal was. Like it's pretty much so yeah, it's an Australian movie. Then it's about this guy he's like a drunk and he's a drug addict, and his family, like he's married to this woman who's all gross, and it's just this crazy situation. Of course, it's another one of those type of misanthropic type of films. And then he gets abducted by aliens, and actually probably the most shocking scene in the movie like happens after he gets abducted by the aliens. They probe him, which I'm not going to spoil that scene, but that was like pretty insane. And then he gets brought back, and he's a different person now, because now like an alien has sort of taken over his body and is like living his life, almost like using his body as like an avatar kind of thing. And so this alien is like living his life, but he lives kind of an extreme lifestyle. So there's actually a really cool scene where like he goes to a club and takes a bunch of like drugs and starts tripping out on the dance floor. And I liked all the weird scenes in the movie, and there were like a lot of them, and there were moments where like some of the people that he was interacting with, like you couldn't tell if they were actors or not. But then like after about an hour, 20 minutes, I kind of got tired of it. And then the ending was just stupid. And I don't know. I mean, check it out if you want to, but I wasn't really like that impressed with it personally. Like maybe like if you're the type of person who's never seen movies like that, it's like something new. But for me, it just seemed sort of try-hardy, I guess. Like sort of, I don't know, disconnected. I just wasn't into it. So, and then I watched Zack Snyder's new zombie movie, Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I saw that one too.
Oh, okay. Well, like, what did you guys think of that?
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like it. It was just kind of, I don't know. Was it just me, or did it seem kind of badly shot?
It was horribly shot.
Dude, there's a dead pixel in the movie.
Yeah.
Like their camera had a dead pixel and they fucking still used it.
Yeah. He apparently used these really old lenses and stuff that he was so proud of, but it made it look like trash because everything was like zoomed in.
Yeah.
Like in the background was just a blur. Like just not well shot at all. It was so zoomed in.
And the CG was awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I would pretty much agree. Like it was, I don't know. I didn't mind the beginning of it so much. Like I thought, I mean, it was kind of dumb, but I thought like it could have gone in an interesting direction, but then it like, I don't know. Like it just, well, I don't know. I wasn't really super interested in any of the stuff that was going on. The makeup didn't look good. I don't know.
Interesting.
Pretty weak movie.
I was gonna say interesting concept, but bad execution.
Yeah.
I was mostly interested with the Tig Notaro stuff, how she replaced Chris D'Elia.
Yeah.
That
looks good at least.
Yeah, and she was good in it.
Yeah.
She was good in it, and it did look good, but like she was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah. And the lines were definitely written for D'Elia. Like, it sounded like straight up D'Elia stuff.
Your guys' watch a comparison between that and Aliens?
I've heard that. Yeah, that it was basically an Aliens ripoff.
Yeah, I watched it side by side. It's like, oh shit, I didn't even realize how much they took from it.
Yeah, I definitely
I-
saw some shots of it, not like a full comparison type video or anything, but
I didn't really think about that, but that makes sense actually. Now that you
yeah,
mention
no,
it.
there were a lot of shots that were straight up one for one alien shots.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, I mean, I guess I could see aliens.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Yeah,
what-
yeah,
that-
that's aliens. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I could see like how that is like particularly sort of in the last act with the whole like just sort of the way it all kind of it's basically just like one giant chase scene at the end, you know, which I don't know. It just seemed kind of like it just seemed sort of pointless though ultimately because like everybody they were trying to save either ended up dying or ended up being like ended up doing nothing. I don't know. I just too many characters, and like you said, it was too long. I don't know. I was pretty done with it after about 40 minutes. And,
Yeah.
I don't know what he was aiming for there. So, but anyway, so yeah, those are like the two things I can think of that I watched recently. Anyway, so yeah, I guess we'll get started with these movies.
All right.
All right, so the first one we were talking about was the one that you chose, right, Zach?
Yep. And I chose Cool World
Mm,
by Ralph Bakshi,
yeah.
which he is the only reason we're doing this episode.
Pretty
Fritz the
much.
cat.
Fritz the cat. Yep.
Yeah. I gotta say though, this movie kind of made me feel more dirty than Fritz the cat did. Like,
This was a horny movie. Yeah.
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 Do you guys know the original pitch for this movie too?
Is this supposed to be horror?
It was supposed to be hard R, but it was a human having sex with a cartoon, and then the cartoon coming back to the real world to kill the father that abandoned them. Yeah, I don't know much more than that, but that's basically the elevator pitch of the original hard R film they were going for.
Probably would have been a
There was
better
like a
one.
Yeah, it was the cartoon human hybrid going for revenge on her father that abandoned him.
Yeah, I probably would have liked that a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what they were trying to go for with this one, because I mean, on one hand, it's sort of it has like there's a certain edge to it, but on the other hand, there's also sort of a certain like jokiness to it as well. So, which I'm fine with, like them trying to kind of balance that out, but I don't know. This film it gets complicated. Do you want to try to explain the plot?
Yeah, I was going to read the wiki.
Okay.
All right. In 1945, Las Vegas, World War II veteran Frank Harris, who was played by Brad Pitt, returns to his mother and invites her to a ride on his new motorcycle. I thought this whole backstory was pointless, but
It was wild.
I'm a bit confused by it because like sure it explains why he wound up in Cool World,
yeah,
and
I think
Like-
I think the reasoning should have been a backstory. Like he should have been already in Cool World, and then
yeah,
later on
and
it
then-
tells how they got there.
yeah, I think that would make more sense, and then they could try to explain that logic sort of, you know, once they cross that bridge, but instead like they kind of start the movie off with this and then it jumps ahead and you're already confused because then Gabriel Byrne's character, like, well, okay, never mind, I'm getting ahead of the okay, go on.
The two are involved in a traffic collision where Frank's mother dies. Afterwards, Frank is transported to an alternate universe called the Cool World. In 1992, cartoonist Jack Deebs is serving a 10-year prison sentence for the murder of a man he found in bed with his wife.
Oh, so that's was one of my questions was how long was he in jail for? It's 10 years.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, it
But-
didn't necessarily say that that I got. Huh.
I mean, it was kind of vague with the details as though like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was murder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years for murder. I don't know if that's a lot. I think that's not that long.
No, I don't think so.
I
Cut
mean,
off
I bet
easy.
like it's so, but it kind of, it already like, that's a question that's never answered really. I mean, they bring it up, but then it's like,
Yeah, it's not an important plot point. It's
yeah,
ultimately
Why
useless.
bother even?
Yeah.
yeah,
Just have him be a normal cartoonist. Why does he
Yeah,
need to be in prison with this backstory?
right.
yeah.
Because it
For
doesn't come
real.
up after that.
Yeah. So what were we saying about Gabriel Byrne and all that shit? Oh yeah. Okay. So he's in prison.
Yeah.
Yep. And he apparently has a pretty nice cell if he has like a whole cartoonist art board or working, the whole shebang.
And they're letting him have sharpened pencils and shit.
Yeah, he's producing. He's producing that comic in jail.
Yeah.
Because
They
when
really
you go,
are.
because later on he goes to the comic book store and like there's like one sign. It's a signed copy from his work in jail, even like of Cool World. So it's I don't know.
Yeah. He's good.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to profit off of work you do in jail.
Well, I mean, I guess in the world of this movie, in the cool world of this movie,
Yeah.
not the literal cool world, but just the world that is cool outside of the cool world, you can use sharpened pencils in jail cells.
Yeah, while you're in for murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly. I just had a funny thought of like Gabriel Byrne starring in Con Air. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I just had a funny thought about that. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
During his sentence, he has visions of Cool World and the femme fatale Hollywood, who seems to beckon him. Jack spends his sentence creating a series of comics based on his visions. Meanwhile, Frank has become a detective in Cool World and keeps his eye on Holly to ensure that the two dimensions do not intertwine. Shortly after his release from prison, Jack is transported into Cool World and smuggled into a local nightclub by Holly and her henchmen, the Goons.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, what's confusing about Pitt's character, the detective, is that he's basically his only job is to make sure that humanoids
Yeah.
noids
Yeah.
don't have sex with doodles. And he seems to be the only Noid there in that
Yeah.
world. So.
Yeah. And apparently he really sucks at doing that job because, I mean, guess what the movie's about ultimately. Yeah.
Yes.
Spoilers. It's about a human being who has sex with the cartoon character.
Yeah, he couldn't do the one thing he had to do,
Yeah.
which I'm confused with because he's the only one there, right? I don't know how many.
Yeah.
They mention, I guess, sometimes noids come through, but like they never directly say it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like at one point wasn't there a line though where Brad Pitt said something like, "You're the first Noid I've seen in like some period of time." I don't know. Maybe I'm like, it's just something I thought he said or misremembered
no.
or something.
I think he said that and then mentioned another time Annoyed was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like purgatory? I'm guessing. I mean,
Who knows? He could have died on that motorcycle accident. That's
Yeah. That's what I was expecting at the end. I'm like, all right, here we go.
And then he wakes up and his mom is like, "Oh, you got to be slow down." You would have hated that. That would have killed this movie for you if it had
Yeah.
ended that way.
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah. Except without the drugs. Mm. Oh, and by the way, Cool World sucks. Can I just say, like, I wouldn't want to live in this place because
No.
everybody's mutilating each other.
Yeah. Just
It's
the
a
wackiest
dirty-
part of cartoons you could think of. That's just
Yeah.
happening all the time.
Yep, in the
Yeah.
foreground and the background.
Yeah, some of those are like, what's going on here? Like the white ones that kept floating across, those weird white
Yeah.
ones. Like
yeah.
they didn't acknowledge them ever.
Yeah, sometimes the characters are just talking, and then, like, on the lower third, they're just like cartoons beating the crap out of each other, and they're not
Yeah.
even acknowledging it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, there's that weird sort of badger that's shanking that dog. Like, that's like one of the first things, like, in sight. That's like one of the first sights of Cool World, and it only gets worse from there. You know, it's like as it goes along, they're like fist fighting, blowing each other up with bazookas, running each other over. You know, like curb stomping, all that crazy stuff. It's just nothing but people beating each other up, anthropomorphic sort of like whatevers. I mean, yeah, it's not a good place. You know, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that Brad Pitt's only job is to prevent people from having sex because I think that there's a bigger problem. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not as far as the whole universe is concerned, but
Right.
All right. Frank aggressively confronts Jack, explaining that Cool World has existed long before he created the comic series. He also informs Jack that his fountain pen is lethal and warns him that sexual intercourse between Noids and Doodles is forbidden, as this can break the fabric between both dimensions. Despite this, Frank himself is in love with the doodle Lynette, but limits himself to platonic advances. Holly later seduces and makes love to Jack, which, this jumps a lot.
oh yeah. Let's can we quickly talk about Brad Pitt's character a little bit more, like with his love interest?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a fucking hypocrite. Like, for
Right.
real.
Yeah.
He has one job, and not only can he not do his job, but he alone breaks the law. Like,
Well, he never has sex
I
with
mean,
her.
well, that's true, he doesn't, but I mean,
She
he
wants
shouldn't even be
to.
in that's true. But he shouldn't even be in a relationship with her if like there's even the risk that, because if sex between a human being and a Noid can break the fabric of reality, I mean, you're kind of playing
Yeah.
with fire if you're flirting
True.
with this, busty, attractive looking animated
Right.
lady sprite.
Yeah, but they could do other stuff,
That's true.
You don't have to have any insertion, I guess.
Yeah, they can do everything except for intercourse.
Finger stuff, butts. Well, I don't know about butt stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get into those specifics, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mutual
Yeah.
masturbation.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, as long as you avoid like doing whatever it is that causes whatever it is that ends up happening there at the end. Like, I mean, we'll get to that, but oh man, I have some questions. But anyway, yeah. And then, okay, so her character, thoughts?
I mean, I thought she was a hooker at first when you first met her because she was like on the streets. And then he took her up to her room or their room or whatever. I thought they were, I don't know.
Yeah,
She
it
was-
turns out this is just a normal way that people dress in the world of Cool World. They dress like they're, looking to make some money, so to
And
speak.
she was on the corner too. It's not like she was.
Yeah, I mean, the film sort of sets her up as if she's like a, like a streetwalker or like a prostitute or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of that movie Element of Crime, where there's that one female character in the entire movie, and she happens to be an Asian prostitute, and that's pretty much the only thing she does in the entire movie, and she's the love interest. It's like, okay, now you're really pushing the noir aesthetic or the neo-noir aesthetic, whatever the heck I don't know. But yeah, this movie kind of does the same sort of thing with her character.
Yeah.
Holly then secretly steals Jack's pen, which he uses to entrap Frank's partner Nails, the spider, when he attempts to stop her. Jack and Holly leave for Earth, where Holly finds herself experiencing real sensations. Due to the damaged interdimensional fabric, Jack and Holly spontaneously flicker in between their doodle and Noid forms, even though it was like different though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and ask, like, why was she a clown?
I
I don't know. I was wondering that too.
Kim Basinger.
Yeah, like I was kind of like wondering what the heck. I mean, I've watched this movie a few times, and I still really can't quite piece together the ending. Like, what? Like once Gabriel Byrne has sex with the Kim Basinger character, and you know, she turns into a real person. I don't know. There's so much that happens that, and Nicole Kidman shows up, and she's unrecognizable. Like,
Who's she?
she's that neighbor lady who ends up like pretty much helping Gabriel Byrne's character. She, yeah,
that was Nicole Kidman.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
yeah. She's totally unrecognizable in this movie. You know, it's really strange, but yeah, that, believe it or not, that's her. You know, if you listen to her voice, you can hear it. You know, you just kind of have to listen carefully. She doesn't even really say very much in this movie. You know, like she has like one line here and one line there, so you got to listen carefully. But
they were very concerned neighbors too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
do they know that he was a murderer? Like, just hopping in his house, wondering if he's okay. Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Being a
that's why they were
murderer.
looking in his.
I think they just overlook that and just like, oh, he makes comics, not the
Yeah.
murderer part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah. He killed somebody.
why did he
but-
have to do that? Why was that in the movie?
Yeah, I don't know. That's so strange. I don't know. The thing is, it's such a weird detail to add into a movie like this and not explore. You know, it's like the whole
Yeah.
breast cancer thing in the room. You know, like why bring it up if you're not even gonna like go into detail about it? You know, it's just such a superfluous detail. That just, but it's murder. That's the thing. It's like, okay, well, can we hear more? It's like, nope.
Yeah, I was waiting
Sorry.
for it to like come back into play later on, but
I wonder like how much of it was maybe the old script that they were thinking of. Like,
Yeah.
that's why like the daughter was going back to murder, or he abandoned them because he got, I don't know, caught for murdering, and there's just a bit of a script that was left in from the old first draft.
Yeah, I wondered the same thing. I couldn't really make heads or tails. It just, I don't know. It's possible that it was like leftover sort of plot details that, I don't know, or maybe a deleted scene. Like, I don't. Somebody had to have asked on set at some point.
maybe.
I don't know. I heard there was lots of production shit that went down. Like, apparently Ralph Bakshi or whatever, he punched one of the producers in the face during it.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I guess let's get into the ending here. Let's see.
While contemplating their situation, Holly tells Jack about the spike of power, an artifact which was the cause of Frank being transported into Cool World and placed on top of the Union Plaza Hotel by a doodle who crossed into the real world, and admits she wants to use it to remain in her Noid form permanently. When Jack displays skepticism about the idea, Holly abandons Jack to search for the spike on her own. Frank learns what has happened and returns to the real world, where he teams up with Jack in a bid to stop Holly. They arrive at the hotel and climb to the roof, where Holly kills Frank by pushing him off the building and seizes the spike.
Okay, so Brad Pitt's character is dead.
Yeah, he fell real far.
Yeah.
I'm surprised like he wasn't a pancake.
Yeah.
There's
He
just a
looked,
little bit of blood off the top of his head, like a little blood trail when he
looked
fell
very
pretty far.
Yeah, he looked surprisingly unbroken, you know.
Like 30 or 40 stories.
Just goes to show you Brad Pitt is he's so good looking that even if you throw him off a cliff, he still won't damage his good looks.
Yeah.
You'll kill him,
Yeah.
but you won't damage his face.
I mean, he looked more damaged coming back to the real world, like, you know, when he landed into the artist
Yeah. I noticed.
the artist's house. He had like a scar on his face, his clothes were a bit ruined and was bleeding.
Yeah.
Shit, but when he fell off the building, there was just blood on the sidewalk and that's it.
It's like, okay, well, I guess he's dead.
Yeah. I thought they were gonna somehow bring him back to life with the pencil or the pen. Because right after he fell, the pen also dropped. But
Yeah.
just broke and let
Yeah,
the
that ultimately didn't really do much either. They made
Yeah,
a
the
big
whole
deal out
The
of it.
pen. Yeah. Like
didn't
she
get
like
it.
sucks a couple people up and that's it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I didn't get. Is it bad? Like, because Pitt like says to Nails when he's explaining this is a weapon here, he shoots some shit into his drink and then Nails just drinks it up, and nothing happened. It was
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
I thought that was a bad thing. Was that poison or something? No.
No. Whatever. Yeah.
Did they ever
Yeah.
get him out of the pen? I forget.
Yeah, yeah. When the pen falls, it breaks open and he climbs out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a Pokeball.
Pretty
Yes,
much, yeah.
exactly.
A multitude
And also,
Oh.
the pen also didn't work on the doc, whatever his name is, the same way it worked on Nails,
Yeah.
because she used it on him and he just exploded into
Oh,
bits
yeah.
and didn't get sucked into it. And they put them back together.
Yeah,
It was-
which is that's kind of a miracle, you know.
multi-use weapon, I guess.
Yeah. No rules in Cool World.
Yeah, I guess
It
not.
really isn't. And can I also just say that I hated every single character in this movie? Like, I just I found them all obnoxious. I
Yeah.
found them all to be hypocrites. Not a single character was likable. I like if they had all died at the end, I wouldn't have cared. You
I
know?
honestly didn't mind Jack, whatever the cartoonist.
Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mind him. I thought he was going to be the big bad, but it turns out Hollywood was.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, he
I
didn't have
kinda
much
think of him-
redeeming qualities, but like,
I mean, in a way, he's kind of the villain. In a way, like.
You're
I mean,
supposed
I don't
to.
know. I guess there aren't really any villains or heroes in this movie. Like the main character is Kim Basinger character, but then she's just shitty too. It's like,
I think she's the villain.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess she is in the end.
ultimately,
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, she does cause like this interdimensional mayhem. So
Gabriel
Which-
Byrne just wants to fuck a cartoon.
The cartoon he
Yeah.
drew.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's a new level of narcissism. Like not only do you love yourself, but you love everything you create.
Yeah.
This movie actually kind of reminded me though of that Brendan Fraser movie, Monkey Bone. Like,
Yeah.
you guys ever see that one?
Yeah.
I haven't.
This reminded me a lot of that. Like that film. I mean, that film isn't really like that movie is like pretty bad too. But I felt like that film's logic it made more sense than this film's logic did. But it sort of had like similar sort of just like strange, odd, confusing, like weird sex stuff. It's
Yeah.
hard to describe unless you've seen it. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, the title Monkey Bone should give you a clue. But yeah.
Yeah, I almost watched it after Cool World actually, but
No.
Yeah.
I took a nap instead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting movie. It had some strange designs. But it is like kind of a headache too. So Chris Kattan's pretty funny in it.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
He was also in Food Fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There you go. Oh my God, he was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh jeez. All right. Well, we'll talk about that in time. But anyway.
All right. A multitude of monstrous doodles begin pouring into the real world and transform many noids in the city into doodles. The spike also transforms Jack into a superhero-like doodle who returns the spike to its rightful place, trapping Holly and invading doodles back into Cool World. While arriving here the same way, with a result of restoring the balance between the two dimensions.
Yeah, I memean, it all happened so fast that it was just like a blur. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of stuff happening. It's a very busy movie, by the way, like very, very busy.
Yeah, especially the third act.
Yeah. I saw a lot of stuff happening, but I absorbed pretty much almost none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like. Oh, go on.
I was just saying the spike thing should have been more of a thing, like throughout the movie, to build up to the ending. But no, it was just like,
yeah.
here
Or
it is.
explained at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's over an hour into the movie. Like Gabriel Byrne's already done having sex with the Kim Basinger animated girl. And then suddenly they're like, oh, there's this spike thing, and then suddenly it just becomes the center of the entire plot, basically. And that's what the movie is just suddenly about. It just kind of is, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it just happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, and there's like a weird monster thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good. Nails, having been freed from the pen in the ensuing chaos, brings Frank's body back to Cool World. As Lynette mourns him, she finds out from Nails that Holly was briefly in her doodle form when she killed Frank, and explains that when a Noid is killed by a doodle, the Noid is reborn in Cool World as a doodle. Sure enough, Frank is then revived as a doodle, allowing him to continue his relationship with Lynette. Meanwhile, Jack, who is still in his doodle form, and Holly are last seen as Jack begins planning their new life together, much to the dismay of Hollywood.
It just seemed like they wanted to just decide, like they wanted to have a happy ending just for the sake of having a happy ending.
That wasn't explained at all until that last minute. So wait, what happened with Jack and Holly? I don't remember that. They live happily ever after too?
It's planning their new life together. But just that the last scene of them was like him like, oh, we could put a house here.
Oh, right. Right. I remember that dumb shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's happy because everybody's animated. I mean, that's more or less how the movie ends. Even though it looks like a pure hellscape to be occupying.
Which is interesting because, Pitt could have gone back anytime. Gone back to the real world. Because he felt like there was a line where it's like, yeah, me and this other, I don't know if it was the doc or whatever, we found a portal that we can go back whenever we want and stuff. But it seems like the trauma of him and his mother dying,
Yeah, because at the beginning, he like thought he was tripping out. Like, oh, you're a cartoon.
Yeah, doing the Brad Pitt like stoner style, like
yeah.
true romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was strange that they decided to bring that up. Like that he could have gone back. Like because then it kind of made you like wonder what Brad Pitt's true motivation was, and it just
Trauma, I think, is like he didn't want to go back to face reality. Like,
I guess
he
would have been nice.
mentioned like one of the things he was saying when he was telling Holly that it's not good over there was like, it's bad, there's crime, there's war. Like he just like mentioned war and shit, like war, death. It's, you don't want to go over there, it's crappy. He had a little line to try and keep her from doing what she wanted.
Yeah, did they even did he even have a reaction from seeing the time difference? Like he went from 1945 to 1992. That's quite a jump in time, and he didn't really react to it.
No, but he was aware. He was aware at least that 50 years had passed. So I'm assuming he was like, "Oh yeah, this is new shit." Whatever.
He was definitely aware, but he had no problem readjusting. That's the thing that was sort of strange. You get this guy from 1945 who's a veteran getting transported to the ninth circle of hell and then coming back 50 years later.
Yeah, because I think that the drunk drivers in the beginning, that was like the first casino probably in Vegas that they were coming shit faced out of.
Yeah, which by the way, that car accident I thought was kind of funny. Like I felt so natural laughing at it, but I don't know, it wasn't very convincing. Like it was like weirdly edited. You got these crazy kids out of control, and then suddenly, and he's driving, and you don't really see much of a, like you see one and then the other, and then there's suddenly a crash, and that's it. Like just, and it just struck me as funny for some reason.
Yeah, and he's having PTSD, like war flashbacks.
Yeah.
That didn't happen any other time.
Yeah.
No.
I thought that was going to be a plot point too, because they had to make a point to show it, but
no.
Nope.
You were duped.
Yep.
I was also duped by how animated this was. I thought it was going to be way more animated. But like even the sets weren't animated. They're like cardboard cutouts or just painted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it looking so hokey. Like I remembered it looking hokey, but I didn't remember it looking that hokey, And also like I get where you're coming from about the animation, because like they're I'd say probably maybe about like 30 minutes worth of animation in this movie total. Ultimately, maybe 40 if I'm like being generous. Like if I include the scenes, like the really awkward shots where an animated character and a human character are standing side by side. I mean, it's distracting, especially like when somebody like touches the other, like
every now and then Brad Pitt will put his arm around his girlfriend, or put his arms on his shoulder, her shoulder, to comfort her or something.
Yeah.
And
it looked weird, like
yeah.
The movie kind of sucks, but I love the soundtrack. I gotta say, I was actually listening to that this morning. Like I was jamming to it. It's got some good songs on it, actually. Like, in fact, I'd even say maybe most of the songs on it are good. And unfortunately, it's the type of soundtrack where, like in the movie, a lot of the songs on it they only play for maybe about 5 to 10 seconds here and there, and that's it. And so then you listen to the soundtrack, and it's like, what the heck? I don't remember this song in the movie. I don't remember this song in the movie. It's that kind of soundtrack. But there's some good industrial music. There's some good electronic music. There's like Moby, Ministry, Eno, Bowie. I mean, there's quite a bit on there.
I didn't notice the soundtrack at all.
Yeah, like the soundtrack is solid, I gotta say. And I like, you probably didn't notice it, but I don't know. There were some memorable parts, to me. Like. To me, it was a memorable enough soundtrack that I listened to it on its own, separate from the movie. So the soundtrack I would give a 5 out of 5 to. The movie itself, probably 1, because I didn't really enjoy it very much, and I've watched it a few times and I've never really enjoyed it. I enjoy rewatching it. I enjoy hating on it, but I've just never really enjoyed actually watching it, like as a movie like to get involved with. It's a really aggressive, strange experience. Although I gotta say, it was probably the easiest time I had watching of the 3 movies we're talking about in this podcast. This was probably the easiest one for me to sit through. So
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. I think that's why I gave it a 2.
yeah, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
I think I'd give it a 2 myself. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
And did you know Frank Sinatra Jr. was in it too?
Oh, interesting.
I didn't catch that, but
Yeah, he was. It was somewhere where when they went to that club and she started singing.
Yeah, at the end.
She was just kind of there. He was one of the guys there. She was singing too.
was that it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a throwaway cameo in a way.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
although I remember he's on screen for at least more than a few seconds. Like, like I do recall a few shots like where you could where you could tell his face was in focus. Like the film really wanted you to see what he looked like, which, like when I was watching it, it struck me as weird because it's like I'm trying to pay attention to the main plot, and then this fucking guy shows up and is like doing his thing at this Vegas casino.
That's like a cameo that if you don't name call him, you're not gonna know.
Yeah.
It's like, who the hell is it? Frank Sinatra Jr. Like, okay, whoever that is.
Yeah, it's someone I wouldn't recognize their face, but you say the name, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, Cool World. I mean, I don't know. It's not the worst movie of its kind I've ever seen. Like, I still would have to say Fred Olen Ray's
Evil Tunes.
Evil Tunes. I'd have to say that was
I almost picked
worse.
that one too. That was my other choice other than Cool World.
All right.
See, that one looked less animated than this one did, so that's why I chose this one instead.
Yeah, you chose correctly because this was definitely more. That one is there's not very much animation in it at all. So, and then if you really, really want to get to like dig like the bottom of the barrel, there was some crappy. I think it was like put out by like Brain Damage Productions. Actually, it was like some kind of really cheap looking, like, I don't even think it was animated. It was like, I don't know, some stupid like green screen type. I can't even describe it. Like, and I don't even remember the name of it. That's how much like that's how disinterested in it I was. So I didn't watch it, but I just like looked up like a review of it or something, and I was like, ugh, no thanks. Anyway, but I guess we're going to talk about mine, the one I chose now, or try to talk about it at least.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but it's Immortal at I'm still I know it's Latin. I've gathered that much. Ad vitam. I think that's the name. Ad vitam. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So this movie is kind of noteworthy because it was an early sort of example of a movie where it was shot like pretty much on a green screen. Like this kind of came out around the same time as like Sky Captain and Sin City and like Casern, and I think there was something else too. I'm not sure which movie came first, but this movie sort of came out sort of in that, like, for whatever reason, a bunch of filmmakers all decided to have the same idea at once and shoot a movie on a green screen. And all 4 films, in my opinion, the results are very mixed, but it is an interesting example of like an early attempt to do something that is, like, I'd say more commonplace these days. Because nowadays with Hollywood, like, you almost can't even tell when a movie is shot on a green screen and when it isn't. So it's become so normal. But anyway, so to describe this plot, okay, so it takes place in some sort of quasi dystopian kind of state.
Apparently it was New York.
Okay.
I didn't catch that, but
Yeah, I did. It was because there was Central Park was like in a
that's
winter
true.
of some
Yeah.
sort.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So this is okay. So this is 2095, I think, New York, something like
Yeah.
that. And let's see. So okay, so it takes place in sort of this point in time where a lot of people are getting like these adjustments on their face, which they're like these sort of nano adjustments that somehow work in some digital artificial, like it's some kind of artificial surgical type stuff, which the movie does something kind of clever and sort of shows like it differentiates between people who've had these artificial alterations and people who haven't. And the people who haven't, it's pretty obvious because those are the only characters that are played by actual actors, and there's not very many of them in this movie, but there's enough, so
I think there's only like 3, right?
I mean, there were 3. Yeah, there were at least 3. Like the 3, I'd say main, like 3 of the main characters were, but there was also some other lady. I feel like early on, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the thing is, like, it's pretty easy to tell like who's artificial and who isn't, because like the CGI is pretty poor. Although I do feel like the film, at least I'll give it credit for at least pointing out that like a lot of the people who have these alterations don't really like the way they look afterward. Like at one point the girl gets up in the chair and she like looks in the mirror or whatever, and she like doesn't really say anything, and it's kind of implied that like these permanent digital alterations like that nobody really likes them, but everybody's getting them for some reason. I don't know. I mean, I think the movie was a little high-minded. I think it was operating at a level that was sort of either above me or very far removed from the way I think, because I mean, we're talking about a movie that's like exploring concepts of like mythology and how, and like immortality, I think. I mean, so there's like this god, or well, I guess he's a demigod, but he's got like this eagle head thing. He's like a naked dude, and he comes
Horus.
down.
It was Horus.
Horus, yeah. And I guess he wants to. His goal is to find a suitable uterus to extend his bloodline, which, I mean, it's kind of briefly sort of mentioned, but it's not really extensively delved into. And he's supposed to be some kind of like really powerful I mean, he's powerful enough to possess people, and he finds this weird dude on the subway tracks who he's like missing a leg, and he's saying something about how like, oh, to be splayed out like a woman or something. Like, he says the funniest shit. I was actually laughing. Like, I'll give this movie some more credit because there is some wit. Like, I laughed at some of like the dialogue in this movie. Some of it's so vulgar that it's hilarious. Like, well, there was that one part where like one of the real people is like arguing with an animated dude, and the animated dude is like, go fuck yourself, and she's like, oh, you wish. And it was like stuff like that. It's just like, okay. Oh, and then there's like this blue haired chick who I mean, I guess she's supposed to be some sort of like advanced being, because she's not quite human, but she is like partially
She's
human.
turning human.
Yeah, she's turning
Like
human. That's right.
The drugs she was taking were turning her human.
Yeah.
Oh, was she like half alien or something? Or am I just making that up?
I think there were aliens at least of some sort.
I mean, it was sort of established that she was otherworldly. So yeah, I would say she was an alien. Although I think she was an alien from a different dimension rather than from a different universe.
I was confused with that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, there was a scene where like she goes to another dimension, like, and it looks like space, but then later on in the movie, somebody says like, "Oh, from space," and she says, "No, from here, just not like where not in your realm or something. Like she says a lot of the dialogue in this movie is strange, you know, and kind of cryptic. You know, people don't really say things very normally in this movie. Some of it's kind of obscure.
Mm-hmm.
It was for a French movie, but
oh yeah, it is a French movie,
so
which
maybe there's some lost in translation a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it French movies tend to be pretty like bizarre and offbeat in some way, and this movie definitely was that. And like, you want to talk about like a movie that's really horny, like Cool World was. This movie was the opposite of horny. This movie was very like R-wordy. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it, and at least on this channel or on this platform, but Horace, like, he can't just have normal intercourse. It has to be like this complicated. Like, as soon as he possesses the guy, he's like ready to go right away. He doesn't want to waste any time extending his bloodline, I guess, because he only has some limited amount of time to live. And so the movie goes into those kind of details, and she has sort of a strange thing going on with this guy who she really like. I mean, I'm really not quite sure why they like hang out, because like the first time I mean, am I wrong? The first time they meet, he basically like manipulates her and then like takes advantage, you know. And then when he confronts Horace about it, Horace is like, "Oh, I'm a god. I can do whatever I want." And then the guy's like, "Well, that's a shitty attitude to have. I don't want to do that." And he's like, "Well, you're too bad, because I'm going to make you do it anyway, because I can make you do whatever I want."
Yep.
So he does that.
Because he replaces his leg too with, you know, a piece of train track, and he's like, "You're not going to be able to walk unless I help you." Shit out of luck, buddy.
He's got a pretty raw deal, you know, because it's like he could have just left him stranded in the subway, you know, missing his leg or whatever. You know,
he needed him though. That was part of the thing, because he was so that character was frozen in time for. He was some type of protester. Like what I gathered was he was like, you know, protesting for equal rights for aliens.
Okay.
So he was, and they said, "Oh, we don't like the bad guys, like the fat CGI guy and the Asian CGI lady." We're like, "Well, why didn't you just kill him back then?" And then he's like, "What? So he could be a martyr?" No, well, we froze him for 30 years. So they just froze him, and he was frozen for 30 years. Except somehow he got broken out, and Horace was like, "Yeah, you're the only one that I can actually inhibit now," because of what I'm assuming it was because of all these genetic alterations that are going on. Horace couldn't actually inhibit other people, but since he was from 30 years ago, he could use him.
He couldn't inhabit anybody who had modified DNA, I think is like, I feel like that was said at one point. Maybe he said it, I'm not sure. And also the stuff about the aliens makes sense, because like there was the reference to like how the battle for equal rights was lost or whatever, because like the aliens, like, this idea that the aliens can coexist with human beings, but it's just inadequate, like, it just doesn't, like, socially, that's just not, it just doesn't work. And so there's that sort of aspect, like, that they're trying to kind of weed out the aliens, so to speak. And that's also why she's kind of becoming human, because like that part has to be eradicated, like the whole alien genome element has to be eradicated, basically, is what is going on in this society. So lots of tragic characters. Some of the animation is an eyesore, although little did I know that we were just getting started. But
I compared these ones to a PS2 cutscene.
I could see that.
I'd say I would agree. Like, these were, I mean, they're not the worst effect. It's not the worst animation I've ever seen. Like there were some moments that I thought looked all right. Like some of the cityscapes had some imaginative qualities, and even though the people looked like garbage, I still sort of appreciated like the fact that like the movie sort of like knew that they looked like garbage. Like there was that one lady with the face that literally just looked like a triangle, and she was just like, hey, and she wasn't talking right, and she just looked bad, like she was barely even moving her mouth. I just thought that was funny. I think the worst example of animation in this movie is with Horace, actually, and not so much in the design of the character, but just in the fact that he talks and his face is just like solid. Like it's
His
just like
throat moved.
His neck moved when he was talking. Like
yeah, it moved like a little bit.
It was
But
weird.
Yeah.
It was a little distracting. I did have to rewind a couple times because I wasn't paying attention to the dialogue, and unfortunately, this is the type of movie where you actually do have to be paying attention to the dialogue, because if you miss like even the most minute thing, it's like, wait, what's going on? Like I don't even have a clue. Let's see. Eventually, things come to a head. It becomes sort of a dire situation at the end, where she's like, because there's that pyramid thing. And then there's a chase scene on like with the rail car involving the dude who's like the Horace avatar, and what's her name? Jill, I think her name was.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's and eventually, oh yeah,
they're being chased by like a blood hammerhead shark.
yeah. And also there was that weird red thing, like
yeah.
I actually thought that looked kind of cool in a cheesy, shitty, like campy kind of way.
Right.
There
was no match for Horace. He just like kind of looked at him and melted them with his laser eyes.
Yeah, the ending of the movie. So the climax, spoilers. So Horace, catches up because she gets more or less brought on board against her will. And then he catches up, pretty much annihilates everybody. I don't really know how else to describe it. And then there's a happy ending. It's implied that she's pregnant. Oh no, actually, it doesn't imply that she's pregnant. It's implied that she's already given birth.
Is that what happened?
Was that the bird? That bird? She gave birth to the bird?
Okay.
Yeah. That was it. It's a beautiful movie.
So weird.
It was a weird one. Yeah. I was in the mood for it, so I ended up digging it, but I'm not gonna say it was good.
Yeah, I made the mistake of getting high for this one.
Oh,
So
oh no.
It made it more confusing.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
was it fun at least? Or?
Yeah, it was fun.
Good. Well, I don't know. Do either of you have any thoughts you want to share about it overall?
Why were they playing Monopoly?
Oh
yeah.
Fucking
that
pyramid.
That was silly. Yeah.
What?
I don't know. That was weird. And then there was that part where like she was walking through that hallway, and it was like, I don't know if they were like frames of like other people's like lives or something, like, or videos or something. Like there was all these videos of like old clips, old movies and stuff. And like I don't know, there were a lot of like strange shots and scenes of characters wandering into weird locations, and just strange music, which like actually like the music on the DVD player or on the menu, like so, like after the movie was over, I was like sitting back reading it and the music was playing in the background. It's just, it kind of started sketching me out. Like I don't know, the music in this movie is kind of creepy.
kind of a creepy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very perverted, honestly. I wouldn't recommend it to people who don't want to watch weird sex stuff. You know,
And then
'cause-
like
yeah.
all the bleak colors just make it worse and feel kind of gross a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Although, I mean, it's based. Okay, so it's another Blueberry situation. It's based on a graphic novel, and so after I
Yeah.
watched the movie, I kind of like looked up the graphic novel, and like the movie actually it actually does kind of like as far as the color palette and stuff. It I think it was kind of trying to look like the graphic novel. The thing is, cinematically, it sort of looks unappealing. So, like you said, it is pretty bleak. A lot of gray, a lot of like dusty blue. Yeah.
Wondering if it looked okay back in 2004, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say that this looked. I mean, maybe you'll think I'm crazy, but I would have to say I actually would have to. I prefer the animation in this to the animation in Sky Captain, because even though the Sky Captain animations were more detailed, they were also a lot more repetitive. And with this one, there was more variety to the visuals. Like there was more to look at. A lot of it didn't really look appealing, but there was still more to look at. Like there was that part where like she's like wandering around, and there's like it's all snowy, and there's those penguins, and I don't know. It's like I thought there were some interesting little visual things going on here and there, even if the plot and the story and the characters didn't really like add up to anything super groundbreaking or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What would you give it?
I guess I'd probably give it like probably a 2. I'll be fair. Like I didn't mind it so much. I heard it was bad. I was expecting it to be bad, and like it was bad, but it wasn't that bad to me.
It was
like,
interesting more than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, definitely.
I gave it a 1.5.
Cool.
Yeah. I was gonna give it a 1.5 as well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was weird enough that I dug it, but certainly not for everyone, I'd say.
Yep.
Yep.
And speaking of not for everyone,
This was just for no one.
yeah.
Absolutely nobody. My choice. It's an animated movie
Yeah.
called
And you're allowed to pronounce the title exactly the way it's spelled too if you want.
Foodfight.
Well, but there's an extra.
Exclamation.
Yeah.
Foodfight.
Yeah. The movie's called Foodfight.
Yep.
So
It's
what
real.
compelled you to? I mean, all right, yeah. What compelled you to choose this one? I have to know.
I don't really remember. I just heard about it. I definitely heard about it on, I don't know, YouTube or a podcast or something.
I think it was a choice on some red letter media, maybe Wheel of the Worst. It never got picked, but it was there.
Okay, I very well could have been it for sure. Yeah. And I
Okay.
definitely have seen like bits of it then, because I remember the dancing raisins, seeing like that as maybe like a meme or something.
Okay.
I remember that at least. So this movie, the general plot is it's like a Toy Story-esque world where but set in a grocery store, where at night all the Ikes, they call them Ikes, but the icons basically, the what do you call them? Just like the characters of what,
Like
Brand
basically,
mascot.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
brand mascots of everything.
basically brand mascots.
This was a giant commercial, pretty much.
Yeah, can we talk about the cover?
Oh God, what in the world?
Like
Yeah.
they are like barely cameos, but
That's funny.
makes them seem like they're going to be the main characters.
Yeah.
Oh
That's-
man,
yeah, that tuna thing was barely in it. The main character didn't even look to be on that cover.
He's barely there.
are you talking about the dog thing?
Way
Like
in the
guy
back.
Yeah.
like the guy who looked kind of like a little bit like a deformed McGruff.
Yeah.
that character.
All of them looked pretty deformed.
Yeah,
was-
to say the least.
The human, I mean,
Oof.
where to? I mean, so yeah, grocery store, Toy Story esque. If they're not supposed to be around during the daytime because humans, whatnot. They come to the whole grocery store turns into a city, too. It's not like they're hanging out in the shelves and stuff. Like at night, the grocery store transforms into some type of food city.
Yeah, it literally just fades to city world.
Yeah. So that's the main plot. But the thing about this is the animation is the worst I think I have ever seen in any type of CGI. Like even early CGI stuff that I can't remember like when CGI started popping. I mean, with Toy Story it was probably, but it's hard to compare that with a Pixar. Like,
Yeah.
I compared it to bowling alley animations.
yes, there you go. Yeah,
You know,
that's a good one.
I would compare it to bowling alley animations, except I would have to say that like out of all the bowling alley animations I've seen in my life, like this didn't even move as smoothly
Smooth. Yeah, the
as
bowling
those
alley.
do.
Yeah,
Like
they're still better.
this had broken frame. This had dozens of broken frames per minute.
Yeah, people just kind of floating around and not really moving.
Yeah,
Dead in the
glitches.
eyes.
It's glitch
Characters.
central up in Foodfight world.
Like the humans were nightmare fuel. Like
God,
the store owner was like, creepy as hell. There was like the main whatever X brand X. The clipboard dude. He was like flailing around.
Oh my god.
He was so scary.
I also watched this one, Hi. That was
Oh no.
hilarious.
Oh man. Oh Jesus.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And that it was Christopher Lloyd, which made it even better.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Wow. Man, who else did voices in this? You see, okay, as soon as the credits started, I gotta be honest, as soon as the credits, I didn't even bother reading. I just shut it off. Like I watched it on YouTube. And
really?
yeah, and I had to turn it off once as soon as the credits started. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm no more Foodfight.
There was some after, not really, they're interstitial credit scenes, but just stupid.
Maybe I'll finish the credits.
I mean, it had big names, like it was
surprisingly.
Charlie Sheen was, McGruff, if you couldn't have tell.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or
actually.
Doc, whatever his name, Dex Doc. Hillary Duff was the cat lady he loved.
Wow. Wonderful. Okay.
Wayne Brady was the chipmunk.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was Wayne Brady, but I recognized the. Wait, it was a squirrel.
I think so. I got the impression he was a flying squirrel, but like he just because he used an airplane and stuff.
Okay. I couldn't tell if it was a squirrel or not because it looked so. I knew it was a rodent.
Oh yeah, his fucking animation is ridiculous.
Dumb.
They kept doing like this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what they were talking about.
And also, like, there was that weird, like, it was like a ferret thing.
Yeah, that one was real ugly.
That looked like a shit smear on the film. Like it looked like a moving, walking talking shit smear.
Yeah. That fucking Cheezel or something. Cheezel the Weasel.
Like
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah, they were trying to do like Templeton the Rat type of thing from Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, like there was no fur animation. It was all shiny. Like he looked like he was just like a shiny, wet noodle of shit.
Oh my god,
so
there
bad.
were like, oh, I gotta say, dude, like, I think out of all the movies we watched on this show, this was probably the most painful one to sit through.
I'd have to agree. I would have to, honestly. This may be the worst movie we've seen on this.
Like this one was
like, oh,
it was making me feel nostalgic for the days of mazes and monsters. Like, I mean, this movie makes Sausage Party look like the last of the Mohegans, you know, or like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs look like.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is great, though.
Oh yeah, no, I love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but this movie makes that look like the fucking kingdom of heaven. Yeah. I mean, and the textures, there are no textures.
It's so bad.
It's just pure blocks, you know, like blocks within blocks. And the blocks are barely movable. Everybody's face is frozen. Did you notice that? Everybody's face was literally frozen. Like everybody's expression. Was this finished? I'm wondering.
I don't think it could have been. Like,
probably ran out of money for all the voice actors.
Yeah, because like, let's see, there was Eva Longoria. She played the bad lady.
Holy cow!
Chris Kattan was the penguin.
Okay.
Ed Asner was in it. I don't know as
wow.
Jerry Stiller. They were one, you know, those two henchmen. One of them was the other one. Ed Asner was one, and Jerry Stiller was the other. I mean,
were
they
like Cloris Leachman? Yeah.
Jeez, are you serious? How does that happen?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Man, like they had to have been forced, like contractually.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
They're all phoning it in anyways, but
oh yeah, I would, dude, the voice acting in this movie is terrible. Dude, I'm surprised that this movie had actual professional actors doing voices, like professional actors doing voice. Holy crap. Seriously?
I don't know how. Honestly.
Wow.
And then that weasel guy was the director. He did the voice.
Oh shit.
How apropos.
Which, by the way, that was like the only movie that guy directed. He's normally a producer. He produced all the Mortal Kombats.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah. Huh. And also Chud 2.
Oh.
And Ghoulies 3.
I like Chud 2. But go on.
I was saying Ghoulies 3 as well, and I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Ghoulies 3. Oh man, which Ghoulies was? I get the Ghoulies movies and the Critters movies confused. Which one was it that had Leonardo DiCaprio in it? Like
Critters.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's the one that takes place in like an office building or whatever, like something like that. Like, or maybe I'm getting confused. I don't know.
Gremlins 2 was in an office building.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm getting confused with that. Anyway, but Foodfight. Oh yeah, so yeah, then there's just advertisements everywhere, which advertisements, I mean, that's my least favorite thing in the world, and this movie is just oversaturated with them. You know?
I mean, Mr. Clean was a character in it, like straight up. Not even like a parody Mr. Clean.
It might as well have been though.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And they're all over the place. Every shot, every like angle, you just can't get away from them, and they're everywhere. And the animation is broken, so the advertisements are broken. You have these creepy looking mascots with these deformed faces and weird shit going on.
Dead
with
eyes.
Their animation clipping, their fingers looking all messed up.
So stiff and wooden. Like the cat girl was just like the main character's love interest. Whenever she was just so stiff and wooden and creeping me out.
She seemed like a different kind of animation, like almost.
Yeah.
She looked like a character like out of The Sims, while everyone else is a little different. It was weird.
It was weird. Yeah. Like the animation. That's another thing about this movie is that not only is the animation bad, it's inconsistent. Like there's no real consistency between like the sizes of the characters or like the way the characters move. Some characters have more facial movement than others. Everybody looks stiffer than hell, but some have like added details for no reason.
A lot of them I couldn't really tell what the fuck they were supposed to be. Like the chips, I guess there was like a chip mascot. I couldn't. Is that like? Was it supposed to be a potato or something?
I think
like,
I don't
but
know,
not a potato chip. And then there's that cheese, the guy.
Yeah, which just looked like a big lumpy piece of garbage. Like it's
French, of course. And then the very, very racist Jewish caricature.
Oh, yeah.
That was like, whoa.
I couldn't believe what I was watching.
I could not believe that. It was a nose. It was just a nose. And it was just very Jewish caricature of the actual character, a nose.
Yeah, and he had all the stereotypes, like you said, and oh my gosh, I can't even tell you guys, dude. Like, like when I was watching, I actually like there came a point where just because the colors in this movie are off too. Like, there's a lot of mismatched colors, and that scene where they're in the room with the guy with the giant nose. And then it cuts to the shot of the wall, and the wall is just nothing but identical noses, all like symmetrically lined up against each other, and the background behind the nose is like a weird light maroonish type of color, and then the actual noses are like a salmon pink. It's like salmon pink against the light maroon. Oh my god, like it was making me, I'm not even kidding, it was making me sick to my stomach. I couldn't stand it. I did something I never do, and I put this movie on 2 times speed. And I actually have to say that made the movie better, because it made it look like all the animated characters were trying to get the movie done with as fast as possible.
In addition to the colors, there's also like textures. Like it's like old textures like you'd put in like Microsoft Paint, like fill in stuff with. It was bad.
It was awful.
Yeah. Everybody's eyeballs look totally psychotic. They all look so tiny and straightforward. None of them looked around or expressed any emotion, like no emotion whatsoever.
None.
Like, and then like also like, I mean, you see, I mean, I started feeling anxiety when I was watching this, because then I started thinking about like people who watch this movie not knowing like anything about, because like I'm glad that I knew it was bad before I watched it. I didn't realize it was as bad as it was. I thought it was going to be like bad in a funny way, but it was more bad in like a really aggressive, unpleasant, like I'm going to barf my guts out kind of way. But then I wonder like what would happen if like a kid watched this movie, because it's supposed to be a family film, I believe, but this is the type of movie that you want, like that parents like have nightmares about their kids watching, you know. And there's some pretty horrifying stuff in this movie. There's like a shot, it's so excessive too, where like an elephant gets tied to a chair and then like a drill gets like put wicked close to his eye. It's like stuff like that, first of all, adds nothing to the movie. And what you're doing is you're inducing trauma, basically, by showing something that severe for no reason to like an animated, cutesy looking like elephant character. Like, it has nothing to do with the plot. And then there's battle scenes. Oh, did I mention that there's a song? I mean,
that's the first thing I wrote down. The song.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like the very first, it was trash. I was like, oh no, it was so bad.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it.
Yeah, it was. And it was, and like I did take off the 2 times speed for the song, because it was like, oh, I should. Somebody did write this song, people did sing it, like it was meant to be listened to properly. So, but I don't remember it.
Yeah. So I
no
guess
funny gags.
So many goddamn puns. Every line was a bad pun. Like every single one. Like,
what was your favorite?
My favorite, he called because it's the only one I wrote down. He called the main lady, "You're a cold farted itch."
It's the only one I remember too.
But they were all like just brand food related,
Mm,
and almost barely could call them puns because they were just directly straight saying like brand names of things.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
like the
okay. There
plot's
was
even
one joke. There was one joke that almost made me laugh. That could have actually been funny, but they fucked it up. So the scene when okay, there's the big battle scene, and those tanks show up, right? And they're having that big war with the food and stuff. And those tanks show up, and they got the ketchup bottles on them, right? And
Yep.
then the hand comes out and starts beating the bottom of the ketchup bottle, like because they want to, get the juice all mixed up with the tomato sauce, the water, and so it'll squirt properly, because that's what people do with. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. So they do that in the movie, and that would have been really funny, except then whoever was doing the animation in this movie, they made a number of enormous errors in judgment, but one of the biggest mistakes they made was having every single character in all of these armies doing the exact same movements.
God, yeah.
Like that only added to the headache fuel that this movie
There's a
already
lot of
had.
copy and pasted characters.
Yeah. And so all of
Yeah,
them hit the
there was
ketchup
just
bottles
copy
the
and
exact
paste. Like
same
there was
ways
like
at the same
people.
time.
Mhm.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, there was like copy and pasted. Like every time it went to night, there was that little transition of a car backing up into a fucking grocery cart and driving off. That happened like 3 times, and then
Yeah,
there
that was so
was
stupid.
during one of the fights, they were like using catapults with pies in it, and it was the same animation about 3 times over. It's like,
They just appeared out of nowhere.
yeah.
Boy. Yeah, when it was going fast, it was kind of funny because it was like they were all moving at the same time, but at least it was like at least the pain was going by quickly, and I was reading the subtitles as fast as I could, so I think I pretty much caught everything that was going on, but I don't know, after about 40 minutes I couldn't stand this movie and I had to do something very sacrilegious. David Lynch would crucify me.
At least you didn't watch it on a phone, or did you?
Oh yeah, a fucking telephone.
So I'll get to the plot, I guess, if there is one. I don't know.
Sort of, yeah.
The
I mean, not
beginning-
really, honestly.
No.
It's just, yeah, there's sort of just
I can do it in a couple of
circumstances.
sentences, I'm sure.
Yeah, go for it.
In the beginning of the movie, McGruff or Dex, the dog wanted to was gonna get engaged to the cat lady. Then she goes missing. 6 months later is when it picks up. Then this brand X comes in. It's like a evil mega corporation that's using chemicals to do bad stuff. Is the gist. One of these the
There's
bad
like a green. There's like a green dude guy thing.
Yeah,
evil. Like
he's one of the henchmen of the evil Angoria character lady. Like, and then they're just kind of it's like Nazi looking like regime type shit, trying to cast away all like discontinue the bad stuff. Like everyone that isn't good enough will discontinue. That's what she was saying. And they hacked into a computer and realized that this, I don't know, some old ugly lady was discontinued by product X, and as well as the cat lady. I guess she was a dish or a soap detergent brand, was the cat lady, McGruff's girlfriend. And so eventually they figure out that those two are connected. Everything's all connected. It's just a big fight to stop brand X from discontinuing, and because I guess that poison or gas or chemical they're using is killing all these Ikes. They call them Ikes instead of icons.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed eventually that near the end of the movie, because it's a short movie and most of it was just dumb bullshit.
Yeah.
It's revealed
Mostly just
that,
people fighting.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's mostly just fight scenes,
Yep. There was no.
which
No.
I guess makes sense because it's called Food Fight.
There was a femme fatale moment of like in the beginning. You think that girl, the brand X girl, was trying to seduce what's his face, and he goes with that line of all the produce bars and all the supermarkets in all the world, she had to walk into mine. So there was that. But that was quickly dropped because she just immediately became a bad guy.
Mm.
And then eventually you find out that the guy look at the clipboard, they just called him Mr. Clipboard, the Christopher Lloyd's character that was walking all goofy. He was a robot.
Yeah.
He was a robot
Okay.
controlled by Eva Longoria's character, who was the original discontinued ugly lady thing. And she was like, wait, but you don't look anything like that. How did that happen? And she said, oh, I went to South America and got some plastic surgery. I'm like, what? What's going on here?
Then goes back
Everybody-
to that form at some point, though.
Yeah. Once she's defeated, I don't know
I think
how.
all the characters in this movie needed plastic surgery.
Oh
They
yeah,
all looked so fucking ugly. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, the final fight was, Eva Longoria trying to fight McGruff or Dex, but Dex wouldn't punch a girl because he's a good guy. He's the best dude ever. But the cat lady comes back and starts beating the crap out of her, real poorly animated, of course. And she turns back into that ugly raisin. I don't know what the hell she was. Like,
Yeah, it just looked like garbage. I don't know. It kind of happened so fast. I was like, whatever.
just a pile of garbage. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't tell what it
she
is,
was
just
for
assume it's
prunes.
garbage.
It was prunes. She was a
Okay.
prune lady.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have that
You
written
see, the prunes, the raisins, and the weasels all looked like different forms of diarrhea to me. Like, it just, I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it, but like the weasel thing, it looked like slimy pile of
Yeah.
shit, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong?
No,
Okay.
it did look like a slimy pile of crap. Yep.
Yeah. And it was moving. Horrible.
Oh, right. I wrote down they used the essence of Sunshine, which is the cat lady, to make the brand X poison. Like they reverse engineered it, I guess. Whatever.
I'm gonna hope that's what
There's
they
a
did.
plot. That's a plot thing. Could happen, I guess. There was a scene where they were in a dryer. They escaped by grabbing onto a sock.
Yeah.
Just cliche. Oh, you know what they say about socks? They always find their way out. So they just grabbed a sock and got out of a dryer.
Yeah, which I don't know. It wasn't funny to me, but whatever.
No. There was a point where I laughed because it was no, I didn't laugh at this at all, honestly, ever. But there was a point where they were riding a soda bottle at first, but the soda bottle was at first unpopped or like uncorked. Like I could eventually it gets, like popped off and there's a spray, but like for a good half of it, I'm like, how is this soda bottle flying through the air?
Yeah.
It's just it's
Floating.
just floating through the air.
And the humans don't even see it.
Yeah. It goes, like it goes through the legs of people and like
Yeah, and they're just like
no, whatever.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I was I don't know. Like I think I was surprised by the Nazi imagery, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thought that a movie like this would go in that direction,
Right. So I'll give you some behind the scenes stuff that I looked up because it did.
Oh,
I should have looked this up before because it did raise questions on was this finished? Like
okay.
this made no sense of how the animation was. It started out as something in '99 actually.
Okay. Oh, okay.
In the
Dang.
2012.
Well, we should have talked about this before Immortal. Darn. And I was hoping, like, as we talk about the movie, we talk about how, like, the animation is advancing. Although we didn't really even do that, but it's like the animation is advancing with each movie. But then you get to this movie and it looks shittier than it did in the last two movies we talked about. But
In our case, the animation devolved.
yeah, in our case, yeah, there you go.
So Lawrence Kasanoff in a Threshold Entertainment, which was the animation studio, I think. They created the concept in '99. A 25 million joint investment into the project was made by Threshold and the Korean investment company Natural Image. So there's like an estimated remainder of 50 million was used to produce and direct the film for Kasanoff, despite having no animation direction. Production setbacks. Let's see. The film was created and produced by the effects shop at Threshold, located in Santa Monica, California. In December of 2002, Kasanoff reported that hard drives containing most unfinished assets from the film had been stolen in what he called industrial espionage and an incredibly complex crime. An investigation, which included the United States Secret Service, was unable to find the thief.
How terrible! Oh my god! Oh man, no wonder the animation looks like shit.
Yeah, the film was supposed to be computer animated with exaggerated use of squash and stretch to resemble Looney Tunes shorts.
Okay.
But yeah, after production resumed in 2004, Kasanoff changed it to be a more motion cap centric animation.
Oh.
And with the results being that he and the animators were speaking two different languages.
Oh no. That's always a recipe for disaster when the people involved in the making of a movie like don't all speak the same language and have trouble communicating, and then people get misdirected or whatever,
Yeah, so that's more or less it. There was a shit ton of delays. I mean, in 2000, the release date was in 2005, but missed. Another distribution deal was struck in 2007, but nothing came of it. And then it was eventually auctioned off in 2011 for 2.5 million.
Okay. Wow. Jeez.
Jesus Christ.
And the budget was, so $50 million. All right.
The wiki said it's up to 65 million.
Yeah.
This movie is a tragedy.
Take a guess how much it made at the box office?
He wasn't even released in the box office?
I mean,
300,000. That's probably way highballing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it maybe 20,000?
Okay, more than that, but it's
Okay.
73,000
Ugh.
for a budget of 65 million.
This was a 13-year project too.
Man, so this is like down there with like Cutthroat Island and like Waterworld and the fucking 3D Nutcracker or whatever the hell that goddamn movie was. The one, I don't know what it was called. The one that lost a bunch of money, like those giant flops that like cost a lot and make like basically nothing. This is kind of fits into that category. It sounds like
a disaster, an unmitigated disaster of a movie.
to say the least. This movie shouldn't exist.
No, they should have kept it in the vaults. Like,
yeah,
just deleted it from the hard drive themselves.
The animation, like, it literally caused me pain.
It's indescribably bad. It left me fairly speechless. I was worried about trying to explain this movie. I was like, I don't know what to say other than it's complete garbage. Like,
yeah. I mean, picture like the worst looking video game you've played, and this looks shittier, honestly.
Oh yeah, shitter than what you can imagine.
Yeah, like, and that's why I thought like that's kind of why I suspected the movie might not have been finished, because like just you'd have like, even people I know who like haven't even done like animation beyond anything like that, I guess would be, you know, the type of thing that you would see like in like an advertisement or something like people who have sort of basic knowledge of animation. Even this movie sort of like breaks some of the basic sort of like ideas and concepts behind 3D.
They had some rotating camera shots, a lot of those.
Yeah, but none of them looked very smooth. I mean, it would rotate, but then as it would rotate, everything would like the size of things would shift.
Mm-hmm. Nothing
would rotate properly along with it. Like it was like, I don't know, it was stuttery as hell. It was like it was stutterier, if that's even a word, than Medusa in the original Clash of the Titans, you know, where they're snake hair, like doing it was crazy. I don't even think I could give it a star.
I gave it a half.
Yeah.
I don't think I could give it even a half. I don't like. Can you give 0 stars on Letterboxd?
I don't think so.
I think the half star is like the lowest you can go.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I did gotta say, being high definitely helps.
I found it. I'm sure.
I found it kind of enjoyable, but I know it was bad, so you still get the half.
All right. I mean, the only laughs I got were just of like, what the fuck is going on? How is this being made? What happened? What happened here? Just so ugly.
It was wicked ugly. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I believe you though. I mean, being high usually even makes like the worst movies I can think of better. So I'm sure this would at least be more watchable, you know. So
yeah.
Anyway, so I guess do either of you have anything more you want to say about Foodfight?
Nah.
Yeah, neither do I. And I never want to talk about it ever again.
No. I'm gonna wash it out of my brain. Erase it out of my hard drive of my brain.
Yeah. Please. Oh, actually, one thing I will give I'm always trying to give movies a little bit of credit. One thing I will give this movie some credit for, they do say the title in the movie twice.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Although the first time they say it kind of sucked. It's just some guy going, "Oh, food fight," you know. But then later on in the movie, it's the McGruff dog dude going, "Food fight." And, you know, that's a little better. It's like, okay, here we go.
And just another little animation thing that I thought was fucking awful is like there's a scene where they were chucking food down from like the shelves or something onto people, and then the food was just disappearing. Like it was like, you know, avalanching in, and then the food was just disappearing. It wasn't like impacting anything. It was just like going down, just disappearing.
Yeah, that sucked.
Wow. Oh wow.
Jeez, yeah, no, I hated that. And I hated like every time they repeated a launch animation. They like launched the like various stuff at them, and they repeated animations, and they changed the colors, and like there's a fart joke within the first 3 minutes.
There's a bunch of fart jokes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything having to do with a dairy product, there was a fart joke.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this movie was a putrid waste of time.
Mm-hmm. don't watch it. Nobody should
Yeah.
watch this ever.
Never
it
watch
high,
it.
if you do.
Yeah, watch. Yes, watch it high, but that's it. Otherwise avoid it. Even if you like bad movies, like you're not gonna like this one. So.
No.
There's nothing to like about it.
No.
No.
So anyway, so let's choose some martial arts movies to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do either have? So both of you have picks, or I think there's a couple I'm thinking of. But
Yeah, I got 2 options.
I got one.
Oh, do you want to start with yours?
Yeah, I'll do Return of the Kung Fu Dragon.
All right, cool.
I have that one. I don't know.
Huh?
I said I might have that one. That sounds familiar, but that's also like a generic-ish title.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I'll tell you guys the years. You can decide which one I should pick.
Oh, okay.
You got 86 or 2020.
What's the 86 one? Oh, well, I mean, unless you.
Mine is 76.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So my 2 choices are either Kung Fu Wonder Child or Jiu-Jitsu.
I've never heard of either.
This is Jiu-Jitsu, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, the Nicolas Cage one. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I know that. I heard of that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
And then what? And then what's the other one? Like it's made in the
It's
80s.
it's a shitty cover, like a newer cover, but
Okay.
I don't know if you can make out the back, but it looks like they fight zombies and vampires and shit.
Ooh, okay. I guess I don't know. Do you have a preference, Nick, or no?
No, not really. Up to you. I do want to see Jiu-Jitsu, but I mean, up to you whenever.
Let's do
whichever.
it then.
Yeah. Let's do the jujitsu.
Always down for some Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna go with No Retreat, No Surrender, which has Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. I'm gonna go with the Van Damme. So prepare for some Van damage,
Awesome.
some
been a
Van
while.
brain damage.
Yeah, haven't seen him in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I was gonna. The other one I was gonna go with was Brotherhood of the Wolf, but that's another weird French movie, and I'm like,
Oh.
let's take a break from the weird.
How
French
many of
movies
those do you got?
Yeah, I know. That one also I've actually seen, and it's actually a really fun movie, but I'll save it. Save it for another time. So, all right, cool. So, all right, so, okay, so Return of the Kung Fu Dragon.
Yep.
Okay, and then Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
Okay, and then No Retreat, No Surrender. All right, cool. That ought to be fun.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that includes our magical animated movies episode, and maybe we'll do another one. But for now,
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah.
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 Oh, absolutely. Because there's a lot of wild animated movies out there, and I'm sure that I'm sure all three of us are capable of finding some more strange ones. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, have a good night, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
Later.
Bye.